Today we are going to look at an open source project. Uh, I've been using it for a while now, and it's quite popular one. And I would I would basically the purpose of making this video is that many of the people that I've worked with, and many of the people who I've met during any conferences or any meetings or anything like that, who are in open source or who are in the community and want to get into open source really find it intimidating, like how to really get into development, how to really look at a project. Okay, I know that it's an open source project, but how do I really approach it? How do I really look at it? You know, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, a little bit about me before really getting into all these things. So, my name is Ayush. I'm a software developer with almost 2 years of experience now. And me and open source has a deep relation. I find open source really interesting, and I was part of Google Summer of Code, and that was the main area where I really find that yeah, I'm learning really great things. That experience is really awesome. So, getting to the topic, open source. Uh, I'm gonna approach to an open source project, uh, Storybook. Most of you must have heard of it. It's basically used for development purposes, React components mostly. But I think they support other as well. I have mostly used it with React since I've been using React. Yep. So let's get to it then. So yeah, before anything else, uh, I just saw that Wikipedia is in dire need of some donations, and as far as I remember, the time that I have I remember from my childhood, the first time I really started using internet, Wikipedia was always there. I have learned a great deal from it, and I'm sure that most of you who are maybe watching this video have also learned a lot from it. So I would really request to please, according to whatever you feel, how much, however you feel like giving, please do. Uh, very well. Now looking at the story. So first of all is like getting to it. Basically, what the community, what the people want to say about it. It's really laid down on the really first page. Build component-driven UI is faster. Storybook is an open source tool for building UI components and pages in isolation. Streamline, it streamlines UI development, testing, and documentation. Great. They also invite us to watch a video related to it. Uh, so yeah, made for React, Vue, Angular, web components, Ember, HTML, well, React, nice. So yeah, that's pretty great. And it is version 6.5. Ooh, installs per month 16.04 million and 1,440 plus contributors. That's pretty low according to what the installs are, right? That's really low. Well, that 1,440 really includes all of the community that's really have contributed like anything to the project. So I feel like that's low. Okay, it gives us a little bit of glance of what the project really do. So first of all, whenever you're trying to really contribute to a project, I would really appreciate it. I think you would really appreciate it yourself when you have already used it for a while. And in today's scenario, there are many things which are mostly built by private institutions. But I would say that open source has really made a place for it, and I feel that you must be using any open source tool or any open source project indirectly. Uh, yeah, so I guess that's the really great place to start with. But looking at Storybook, yeah, build UIs in isolation. That's the main focus of Storybook, and mock hard to reach use cases, right? So it lets you build different use cases according to what you really want with any single component or your application as whole. But it really drives you down to building isolated components so as to uh, you don't have to do the same thing again and again, and it can work in multiple places since it doesn't have to depend on the conditions. Yeah, keep track of use cases as stories, so it lets you create these something stories and all, right? And there are some add-ons also available. We'll get to it, I guess. Accessibility tests, traction test behaviors, test markups, unit test functionality, reuse stories in unit test to enhance functionality. Nice. Some really great organizations have been using it. That's pretty good. GitLab also nice. Right. Well, there are many integrations also available. That's pretty good. Okay. So where do we go from here? There are tutorials to it, and there is also documentation to it. Uh, I would say if I'm at uh, your position, if I'm someone who's really new to what Storybook really does, is like watch a video first of all, right? Uh, Going to docs doesn't help much. Going to the tutorials first is a really good approach, and try to basically do it yourself. DIY always. That's the best thing whenever it comes to programming. In the end, it's all coding or programming in the end. So there's no need of anything new to be done here since it's open source or something. In the end, you're just coding, but coding with community, so it makes it so better. So yeah, tutorials for that purpose. Documentation is something that you really go for when you have anything specific in mind that you really want to, according to me. Uh, Going to documentation while you're trying to maybe get in depth of what the thing really can do matters, but for that you must be knowing the foundations of what the project really do, and for that I guess you should be like using it. Just keep using it, try to get a hang of it, how it really works, and then move to documentation for much advanced approach, if you if you will like, right? Yeah, so that's about Storybook. Let's get to the place where the work is done. Hmm, that is GitHub. Right. It's a Storybook repository. Getting started. Hmm. So, the first place where you would land is the README, obviously, whenever you're looking at any project on GitHub. And that is really the best place to start from. Mostly the communities have mentioned some kind of guidelines on to where to start from, right? And in case of Storybook, that's pretty much true. While there's a side note that some of the communities are not very much. not very much, you can say, working or very much active, uh, dependent on contributors, obviously. Like how many contributors does that project really have? Landing on README, we can say there are table of contents for much better clarity. There's a getting started section, obviously. That's the first place to really go for, looking for where to really get the project really started, like what the really for the project is really about. Yeah, and they really redirect you to the Storybook website that we came from just now. Yeah, there's documentation. There are examples. Examples are also a good way as to see what the project really presents. Like what are the common things that can be done, multiple iterations, multiple things that can be done. So I feel that is also one of great places to start from. Add-ons, community on, okay, communities on Discord. So first of all, let me tell you, like, whenever you're dealing with an open source project, what are the things that you should really be focusing on? Hmm? So getting started is one thing. That's the first thing that you should know, like what the project is really about, what the project really does. That is already discussed. That is the first thing. Get to that, then you can really think about really contributing. You should really be in love with what the project really does. Okay, and after that there is communication. Communication is very important when you are talking about open source projects. Always try to interact with the community as much as you can. Introduce them to who you are really, and really tell them that what your purpose is. If you want to develop, you should really be open about it, that I want to contribute to the project, and I'm new to it. I've never uh, I've never done a contribution to any open source project, and this is my first one. Yeah, but be communicative about it. Be open. Share what you really want to achieve with the project. And believe me, community is really appreciative of any new contributors. Mostly, uh, all the mainly the maintainers are really happy to give you some tips on where you can really get started from. But before that, there is one thing that I would recommend anyone who's really looking for contribution, and that is going to the contributing side. Yeah. So whenever you're uh, looking at any open source project, there must be a contributing guide. Mostly there is, and I feel every open source project needs to have it. That, like, it's the number one thing that you should really look for. And yeah, so in this case also there is a contributing guide presented, and what community really present here is a little jotted down few steps into how you can really contribute to the project, and there are many things to it, and these few steps helps you a lot into getting started, right? And yeah, so looking at Storybook's contributing guide, you can see that there are pull requests and stars always welcome. So they are appreciative of you contributing always. And there is a contributing guide mentioned here. So we're going to click over that. Okay. Uh, yeah, how to contribute.